Okay, we are live.
Hi.
Hey everybody.
Welcome. How do I see if people are joining? I'm new to this, everyone.
Usually we have some sort of another window open with the actual thing, but
No,
you have
well,
to mute it.
yeah, it should show on your stream yard. It should show you like a number of how many people are watching.
Okay,
I don't know exactly where it is, but
I'm seeing it now.
yeah.
Okay. So, welcome everyone. I'm here with the fiery sellers. I will let you guys introduce yourself real quick before we jump into talking about reels.
Mm-hmm. So I'm Camilla and this is Kang, and we are the fiery sellers. We've been reselling since 2019, and we started our YouTube in 2020, right?
2021.
2020.
Last year,
Yeah,
January
2021. 2020.
2021, and then we
and our Instagram at the same time.
Yeah.
So we started both platforms at the same time. So we've been building both of those for the past year, and so we
got a lot of comparisons with the reels and stuff. So we're really looking forward to talking about reselling and all that stuff too, because this is a niche topic and community, right? So this hopefully will help other people. If you're watching the replay, kind of think about your niche as well, just how small you can do it so that you can actually make, hopefully a little bit of money with these reels. And it really doesn't matter how big your community is. I think that as far as what we're going to talk about, what we've learned in the last month, this can apply to pretty much anybody.
Exactly.
Perfect. And I thought you guys would be good to talk about this with, because we both monetized Instagram reels within a couple days, and then you guys also have YouTube to compare it to and talk about. So I'll start out with the question that I get asked all the time: how do you monetize reels? How do you become eligible?
Ours was pretty tough. We kept reaching out to the support team for Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, and they kept telling us that they were reviewing our accounts. It took us about 2 or 3 months. And I think at this point, they might be getting a little faster in terms of approving people, because we have heard that, some of our Instagram friends have asked the same question as well. And, all we've told them is that, you just got to basically, in a way, apply, and then they approve you after a review. And then, our friends who kind of got that process started after us took less time. So it's really hard to answer the question, because it seems like it might be a little different for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. But also, first, before you are eligible for the Reels bonus, you have to be eligible for monetization just in general.
Right.
So that piece, you have to, for your Instagram page, like you can have a regular Instagram page, like your personal one. But if you want to have like your reselling page and you want to monetize it, you have to have it as like either a business page, or you say that you're a content creator. So within your settings, you have to change it to like more of a business account. And then that enables you to see like some of the analytics on Instagram. And then you have to fill out, I think, like a form for monetization, where you fill out some information about yourself, and then they kind of approve you for monetization first. And then once you're approved through that, then you can get to that Reels bonus, and it will open up an application for you to do that. And you put in like all your information. I think you even had to put in maybe like your social security number or something like that.
I think and then like taxes.
Yeah, and you have to put in like a payout account. So you have to connect your bank account so that they can pay you that money. So that's kind of the process. So it's a couple of steps. So if you have an Instagram page, make sure that you have that business account versus just a personal page, and then make sure that you are eligible for monetization. It will have like a little green check mark there. And then that's what's going to open you up to be able to do that Reels bonus.
Yes. And they have a lot of rules on what can and can't be monetized once you start creating. But going back to becoming eligible, have you guys seen any special number of followers where people are getting approved? Because this is something that it seems like accounts are slightly bigger, but I've seen people with like 44,000 followers who were not monetized, and I was monetized.
No, we don't know anything about that, actually. We were thinking about that too. We were wondering.
Yeah, because before we were eligible for the bonus, we are like, oh, maybe it's that we have to have 10,000 followers because we were like just below it. But then that doesn't make sense because then you also got monetized around the same time. And so I guess that's not it. Maybe it's like you have to create a certain number of reels first. But to us, we haven't found any rhyme or reason of like how they decide that you're eligible for the bonuses. I think for us, it helps that we kept bothering them. We kept being like, every week we would message support because we were making these reels and we wanted to get paid for them. We were like, we're not going to waste our time doing this if we're not going to get paid. So that was kind of what we
maybe
were
also
thinking,
it also needs a proof of concept. Like they want to see that you're actually participating in the reels. I think that maybe that's part of it. So if you're applying to be monetized for reels, you should show your proof of concept that you're actually making some reels, not that you have this promise that you're going to start after you get monetized.
Yeah.
I went and scrolled through all of my reels, and the first one I posted was November 2020. So, I had a good amount of time under my belt, and I think that helped because then I learned what reels performed better. So what have you guys seen there in terms of what reels really pop off for you guys? Because you had some really viral ones.
Yeah, we were thinking about these questions, and it was really hard to pinpoint exactly what did well and what didn't. We just know that when you're hopping onto a trend and a certain audio, that generally helps. We have kind of focused on the ones that have gotten really early like virality. So a few hundred to just under 2,000 reels, I think, on any particular audio did pretty well for us. Jumping on one that was pretty fresh also helped us, I think. But when we looked at our like 100 to 200 to 300,000 view ones, those were well thought out. In our case, the content was good. Like it was well thought out, and the content was pretty high quality, I think. And I think that it was interesting. Like it helped people, and then people were able to comment and share, just like the algorithm. Most algorithms, like when there's activity. So I think those are kind of the common factors. When we did like original audios, those did just okay. But when we're looking at other people who do like garage sale and thrifting videos, but they have original audio and not, they don't jump on the bandwagon of a song or anything like that. They have to me, it looked like they had a different like pathway because they had a great base already. Like all of their followers would comment and like all of that, and then maybe the algorithm pushed them there. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, like I think there are kind of two different sets of like reels that have done really well for us. One is trends, like the trending sound. And with those, you have to get on them early rather than, you don't want to be like late on that because then it's kind of like overdone, and so people are scrolling past yours because they're thinking, oh, I've heard this 100 times already as I'm scrolling.
Right.
And then the other set of things that have done pretty well for us are just like kind of original ideas or original kind of content. And I think that those do well because, I know in my experience of scrolling through reels, like if it's the same 10 audios again and again and again, I'm pretty bored. So I'll stop at one where it's like something different, and then with those ones, we focus really on making sure that we're keeping the person engaged for however long it is. So either making it pretty short or making it kind of like really snappy, like really like changing, angles or like whatever it is so that people are like engaged the whole time, because that's what will make people scroll past your video is like they don't, they kind of get distracted or whatever. They're not interested in anymore. They'll scroll right past it. And I think that having people watch all the way to the end of your reel, or even watching it a couple times, is what's going to, make it be shown to more and more people, because Instagram is seeing that people are interested in this and they are continuing to scroll. They're enjoying their time on Instagram, rather than being like, oh, Instagram sucks, I'm going to go to TikTok, or I'm going to go to YouTube, or I'm going to go wherever.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that? And do you put any stock into this whole 7-second myth?
I love the little 7-second myth that like those videos perform very well. I think definitely my shorter videos tend to pop off. But I would agree where like some of my original audio, like those videos still do somewhat okay. I wouldn't say they're like bad, but I definitely think like adding audio like adds a little bit. And part of my thing is that I like adding text to the screen. And I do all of my editing for Reels within the Instagram app.
Right.
So that Instagram will reward me for using their app and, promote my video to more people. But I think also the keywords that I type out, I think that helps it get shown to more people. So I had the video was just me typing on my laptop saying that, emailing my accountant to see if my Lululemon belt bag is a business expense.
Right.
And like Lululemon belt bags are so popular right now. So I like made that a hashtag too. And that video was like my most popular. But like I wasn't doing anything like super crazy in the video, but then it engaged people because they were commenting like, oh, let me know.
Right.
So yeah, I think the comments definitely help. Or things that other people can easily relate to, because then they'll share them to their stories.
Right.
Yeah.
That definitely helped with us.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we try to do on our personal Instagram, just in general, whether it's a post or a reel, is try to make it shareable, but also try to make it funny. I think that, people are on social media to usually get something positive out of it. And if they're laughing, then hopefully that sparks them to share it or whatever.
Yeah. And I also think something that you said about that reel, about the Lululemon belt bag and hashtagging that, is that something that has helped our reels sometimes is expanding the audience just beyond resellers. So if it's, small business owners, if it's thrifters, not just focusing on resellers, because obviously that's a pretty small community compared to, the whole world of Instagram. So if your reels can be relatable to even more people, that's even better.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why those like Thrift With Me reels do pretty well for people, is that not just resellers are interested in that. Like a lot of people kind of like this vicarious, shopping with you and seeing what's there, treasure hunt, all these people who watch like, what is it, Antique Roadshow or, Storage Wars.
American Pickers. Yeah.
American Pickers, that's the one I'm looking for. Yeah. Like those people aren't doing that, but they like to watch it, So it's the same with reels, like some of those things that other people, you could see the average Joe watching that.
Right.
Think about that too.
We're always talking about, okay, if it's specific to a topic, can we broaden it? Like, for example, if it's the bins, can we say, is it more like thrifting? If it's talking about reselling, can it be expanded to small business? So just taking it one tier outward in terms of the relevancy, it has helped us a little bit. Because the core audience that we have on our Instagram know that we do thrifting, we do reselling, and we are a small business. And so all three of those things are relatable in terms of thrifting. And I don't think it hurts us to have it too broad, right? Because even if we wanted to talk about the bins, people don't always know that there is an outlet. So maybe it just makes sense to do thrifting instead of the bins. But that one is also a little bit questionable too. So.
Yeah.
And I know we had talked a bit before when we both got monetized, and you guys said you had done a lot of experimenting beforehand with Reels. So you kind of had an idea when you were going into this first month. Are you changing your strategy moving forward? Are you going to keep posting as many reels, or do you think once you kind of hit that magic $100 where your money starts to decline, do you think you'll just kind of stop posting reels?
Yeah, we're kind of disagreed on that because I think we should stop posting reels at $100. Save our energy, and save our funny ideas for like the next month when we can get the good money. But then there's like this possibility that whatever number reel after that could be the one that goes viral, and gets millions of views or whatever. So you're always risking like not getting that, or not, like hitting it at the right moment, or, if you have a really good idea on something, or even like, I don't know if it's like, Instagram for us, part of the reason our Instagram has grown over, the past couple of years has been our consistency, that we've been like super duper consistent on our Instagram. And so part of like reels is also, do we want to continue that consistency that's helped us grow so much? I think that probably is part of it too. So,
right. So the thing that we disagree on, it's mostly about how much energy we're putting into this. But I want us to hit like 400,000 views, 500,000 views, and up to 1 million, and that would just be fun, right? Because we also do this because it's fun. Because our highest count was at 373,000 or something like that. And so it just
pre-monetization,
yeah,
of
before
course.
monetization, and it's like, well, I wonder if we could ever reach that again. So
Yeah.
we do wonder, and we do keep putting it out, just in case.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you feel about that?
I did question. I think I was doing maybe like 2 reels a week the first month. And so now I feel like now that I've hit the 100, there's maybe not as much pressure to put reels out if I'm like, I really can't think of anything. But at the same time, like, I don't plan a ton of content ahead of time. So some days I'm like, I really need something to post. I need to come up with something. And I, scroll through whatever thrifting videos I have. And I'm like, how can I make this work? Right. Or what can I film right now? Find a trending sound and see what I can do. So I don't know. I think I'm still going to keep posting a lot of reels because I don't know if monetization continues forever, or if eventually they'll be like, oh, you've made too much money or not enough money and we're kicking you off. So I don't know what the future holds for that. So
yeah, I think it's just safe to keep doing one or at least one a week. Why don't we talk about the magical $100 for us? And I think it might be the same for you. For us, it was 20,000 views made you hit $100, and then after that, it was for every 1,000.
No, for every 10,000, you got $1.
$1 after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not broken down my numbers that specifically, but that 20,000 views for $100 sounds about right. Because initially I would post and I'd be like, okay, I've made like $25 per reel. And then I'd post another, okay, it went down a little bit. Now it's only $20 per reel. And then by the end of the month, it was like $12 per reel.
Right.
Which, still isn't bad considering the amount of time that I put into any reel, but definitely declines after that initial 100.
Yeah, because we had been, people had said like, oh, the first $100 is really easy to make and then it gets harder from there. But like, that is like a really steep cliff. Like all of a sudden, like you get 20,000 views, you get $100, and then the next 10,000 views, which had gotten you $50 previously, gets you $1. That's like huge cliff, So that's just something to keep in mind, that like, I don't know if if you create 2 reels a week or 3 reels a week, you can pretty easily make that $100, if you have a pretty big following, or even if you, just have one that gets kind of pushed by the algorithm. So it is nice because I feel like it's kind of sort of an even playing field compared to like YouTube, where YouTube, it takes a lot longer to build up that following, to be able to be monetized, all of that kind of stuff, and to be able to get that amount of views. So that is something that I like about Reels, is that like for us, it seems like, okay, we can as long as we're in this bonus, we can pretty much guarantee that we're going to make like about $100 a month, which is nice.
Yeah, it's nice to make $1,200 a year, an extra
Yeah.
$1,200.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just for doing something fun like this.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys mentioned YouTube. How is Reels comparing to your YouTube payouts? Because you guys are monetized. I'm not there yet.
So
Yeah.
the Reels, we have gotten paid out already. It was about $147 for about a month's worth of work, and we did about 2 to 3 Reels per week. So that's roughly, I don't know, upwards of 10 to 12 for the month, right?
Mhm.
And for each of those, it took about half an hour. So let's say, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours at the most to make all of those Reels for 140 some odd dollars. And then you go to YouTube, and we've made $30 in the last 30 days for having put in about 3 hours per video, which recently we've put out 1 per week. And so that's roughly 12 hours for the month. And so it's more than double the amount of work for less pay, for about a third, about a fifth of the pay. So you kind of easily do the math there, and it's like, yeah, the Reels make sense, but the Reels money only encompasses 1 month's worth of Reels work. But YouTube, if you do evergreen content and it keeps getting views past 30 days, then you still get the money from that. So YouTube and Reels are just really different. But in terms of the amount of work, if you're a small niche creator that you just want to get your feet wet and you want to start with something, Reels makes the perfect amount of sense because it's such a low barrier of entry. It makes so much sense to get to that $100 and then really build your community, build your follower base, and then kind of just go from there and feel the encouragement. And also that monetization really helps motivate you to at least strive for more. Whereas YouTube, you gotta get that 1,000 subs and then the 4,000 hours of watch time. It's just rough.
Yeah.
Are you guys cross-posting any of your Reels as either YouTube Shorts or TikToks?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Not really. That's all we got to say.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
I am in the same boat. I haven't found it worth it to do YouTube Shorts because that time doesn't count towards monetization.
Right.
So I'm like, if I'm not going to get paid for that, I'm not going to go through those extra steps. And then I just have not prioritized growing TikTok the same way that I have with Instagram.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the thing with us posting to YouTube Shorts is that a lot of our audio are songs, which you get copyright strikes if those songs are copyrighted. But we have talked about the ones that have original audio of people just talking and viral, audios. Maybe that would be okay. I don't think people would copyright, their voices. That one's kind of iffy, but I think that's more okay to cross post onto YouTube Shorts. So we're probably going to do that a little more moving forward. We just have to remember to save it on Instagram to our phones so that we can cross post it.
Exactly.
I need to do that too. Okay, let me look at my list of questions here from followers. Are you seeing a best day and time to post? Are you just posting randomly, or are you like analyzing when people are online?
We're still testing that out. Even a month's worth of Reels, month and a half at this point, it's been kind of hard to know for sure. But I think most of our better performing ones have been better in the evenings. For whatever reason, when we had posted in the evenings, they tended to do better. Our more recent ones we've posted in the afternoons, they have fallen short of our expectations. But there was one particular one where I posted it where Camilla had done the reel, and I posted it at 5:30 a.m. Central, and that one did really well compared to all the other previous ones. So that one hit like 24,000 pretty quickly. And I don't know, it's just weird.
I wonder if that's because not many other people were posting reels at that time. So when people open their Instagram app at the beginning of the day, you were the newest content showing up.
I wonder that too. That's part of what I was experimenting with, because I didn't just do it on a whim. I thought, let's try this, and so I posted it, and it was being shown to a lot more people who were not resellers and part of our Instagram followers. So I think that is pretty spot on. It just seemed like that was the case.
Yeah. I mean, I know like in my own experience on Instagram, like when I'm up super early with the baby, I'm like dredging through content because it's like, there's like nothing there, because I just looked at it like a couple hours ago when I was going to bed, and now I'm like up again. And so there's not much there. So to have us be there, it's like, okay, yes, a ton of people are going to watch it, because at that time I'm like watching all these people that I don't usually watch, or looking at things that I don't usually see, because the stuff that's usually there is not there yet.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be my new strategy, just posting 5:30 a.m. every day.
Well, my whole thing with what I think with the evening ones as well is that not a whole lot of people are posting as much content in the evening, but also there are probably a lot more people scrolling through Instagram in the evening before they go to sleep. So those two factors might play a role.
Yeah.
Do you think now, though, that resellers specifically are competing with evening whatnot shows for views?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't
know. We're so like not in the whatnot scene. So that's the thing that like we don't really, I don't know. That's not something that we had ever really thought about. Like, oh, we are trying to compete with that. I don't know.
There are so many more people on Instagram than there are people on whatnot. So I don't think that really plays a big factor. But since you said the reseller portion, that factoring into things, I don't know. Because like we mentioned before, when we try to create a reel and it is reseller related, we try to broaden it so that maybe we don't have to talk about resellers, because first of all, a lot of people hate resellers. So we try not to put reseller in it. And so hopefully the people looking at it from a fresh perspective don't necessarily think of us as resellers. They just think of us as thrifters, and then that's more relatable. Or they know somebody who is a thrifter that makes them think of that person or whatever. So we usually try not to make it too specific. So I guess to answer your question, we're not that worried about the whatnot people, considering we hardly ever put reseller in our text or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that one thing you have to consider is that, like, if you think about like resellers as like a pyramid of like super hardcore dedicated resellers, content creators, that sort of thing. Then there's like, really dedicated resellers, part-time resellers, and maybe full-time resellers that aren't necessarily content creators. And then there's like a whole span of people who are just casual resellers. And that is the biggest population of resellers. And so that is like who we try to direct our content towards, of like either, informational things that are elsewhere on our Instagram, or these reels that are relatable to just the casual reseller, or, someone who identifies it, with their small business and things like that. So like thinking about like who is the biggest population that we're trying to reach. And I'm not sure that a lot of those people are on, I mean, they might be watching whatnot shows, but I'm sure that they're not like always watching whatnot shows. They might have a few people who are their favorite resellers that they watch on YouTube or whatever. They might go to their whatnot shows, but they're not like always on there. And so I think sometimes when we think of resellers, we think of like almost like the reseller clique that's on YouTube and, on our Instagram, the people that like we're friends with, that have built this kind of community, but that, really the community is so much bigger than that. And like, if you think about like how many views each of us are getting on our reels, it can't just be those people.
Right.
So
do you ever go on whatnot and kind of compare that? Do you have any thoughts on that question?
I haven't done a lot on Whatnot. I've watched a few shows, but I've heard that some of these resellers, for example, the Deal Queen, they're having these late night shows and just getting a ton of viewers, which is interesting because it's also, you know, people are going to be home, they're going to be on their phones. But you had mentioned that you don't want to make your reels targeted towards just resellers because people hate resellers. In one of my reels, I went to the Kansas City bins and someone was upset that I did that, and he like commented something, and then people were like fighting in my comments about like, oh, it's not okay, you're stealing from the poor. But I was like watching it, I was like, well, you know, this is getting me more views, so
Right.
I'm just gonna let it happen. I'm not gonna interfere. I'm not gonna like delete comments or block anyone. So I almost wonder if that would be a strategy to post something that resellers would like, but would anger other people, but would still make them comment.
Solid strategy. I think that's a really good strategy because you know those people don't understand reselling. So what do we care about their opinion? Our strategy with that though is that we got a lot of hate comments, and we just don't like having to deal with all those comments, and
That's fair.
it kind of like flooding our comment section.
Yeah, Kane can take it, you know, like he doesn't care, but I am like so sensitive. So I like was like, I can't do it. You know, people were messaging us really nasty things. Like we were like reporting people and all this stuff. I don't know what happened. I think maybe someone posted some of our content and like into a group or something, or somehow it got like basically to the wrong side of everything. And so now we actually have restricted our comments and all of that kind of stuff so that like even if those people are seeing our content, they can't comment on it. Only people who follow us, and I think we follow back maybe can comment.
They just have to follow us.
Oh, okay. People who follow us can comment, but other, you know, just random people can't comment, and that has helped cut down on it a lot. I do think it has hurt our views in terms of reels. Like I think that's part of why we haven't been getting as many views on our reels, but for me, I feel like it's kind of worth it. Like personally, like I am just too sensitive. I don't want to hear the hate comments. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to, you know, have any of that. And so I'm like, I'll sacrifice, you know, if I can get to that $100 without having to have any hate comments, that's great. You know, the next $5, it's not really worth it to me, you know?
Right. Yeah, it was a lot of time to have to deal with those comments, so it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, so I will not test out that strategy too much.
I mean,
well, you can take the heat.
If you have a thick skin and you don't care what people say. I mean, and that's also part of the reason why we don't post on TikTok is that people there are mean.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not dealing with it. Well, I don't want to hear it.
Well, what Camilla said was that, you know, if you can take the heat, then it doesn't matter. I almost wanted to comment back and troll people, but Camilla didn't want any part of that. So, you know, I can roll with the punches and really kind of just jab back at them, but it's not productive and it's really just a waste of time. So it doesn't make sense to do it.
Yeah.
Good. Well, do you guys have anything you want to bring up, or if anyone in the comments has any other questions? I think we covered like a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Either people messaged me or I was just curious how you guys were taking things.
You know, when we started doing reels and we saw that everything was going really well, that encouraged us to just finish strong before we got monetized. You know, just keep making really good reels. And so we took that mentality into the monetization. But when the monetization came and our reels didn't do as well, that was kind of a bummer. But that's a comparison game that you probably don't want to play because there's so many factors that go into going viral that you might not understand. So it's not really worth putting yourself down or thinking about it too much or comparing yourself to others because we used to do that and it wasn't very productive. You know, even, you know, the numbers that we were putting out before, before we got monetized, we compared it to a lot of other Instagram.
And Reels makes it easy because you can see how many views are on everyone's Reels. So you can just go to the other profile and look and see like, oh, how many views are they getting? You know, versus like, yeah, it
felt good to compare ourselves before we got monetized, and then we realized maybe the monetization does have an effect on our reel count. So it was just kind of weird to think about it like that. So if you're kind of, you know, starting your Reels journey or whatever you want to call it, that might happen. Just don't get discouraged. I think this is a part of is an encouraging thing that I want to tell other people, because you know, you're gonna have highs and lows. That's just part of social media in general, I guess.
I think I have kind of a theory for the lower views. I think also now just so many more people are making Reels.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I don't scroll through the Reels tab for nearly as long as I do on TikTok. Like I will watch TikToks for hours. I will watch Reels to like find a good trending sound, and then I kind of like get off of it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that there's like so many more people putting Reels out.
Yeah, that's probably part of it too, for sure.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, have you guys noticed your non-Reels post getting less views than before because Instagram's pushing Reels so much?
We get this about the same amount of likes, I feel like. But maybe the engagement is less, because Mondays are memes, Tuesdays are Reels, Wednesdays are we paid, we made, Thursdays are Reels. Sometimes we have a Friday post, sometimes we have a Saturday post, and sometimes we have a Sunday post. Saturday posts have been reserved for thrifting days, but we haven't gone thrifting in a while. But our analytics have been pretty steady lately. I guess it really just depends on how good the memes are doing, because those generally are the more shared and things like that, because they're funnier and whatnot. But yes, and just barely if it's yes. So it has gone down a little bit, but I think barely, mainly because of how consistent we are.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes into like, I know that in the list of questions that you had sent us, someone had asked like, should all your posts be Reels now? And I have seen some accounts like do that. Like it really does seem like all they post are Reels. But for us, we still, you know, on our posts, we still get followers from that. We get comments on it. And so like those posts that we do that are, you know, regular, they seem to show up on people's explore pages. And so we grow our following that way. And then more people see our Reels, and more people, you know, hopefully go to our YouTube channel and go to our shops and things like that. So I think that Reels aren't the only way that you can drive traffic to your Instagram page, that these posts also drive traffic. Because I know like when I go to my explore page on Instagram, sometimes I look at the Reels, but a lot of times I like to look at the posts that are there, and I kind of scroll through the different posts. So I think that people still are doing that. And so it still is a way to, you know, have people come to your Instagram page, learn who you are, that sort of thing. And on your basic feed too. I look at posts way more than I look at Reels on my actual like regular feed. So yeah, I think I think we're going to continue doing a mix of them. Yeah.
Same question to you though. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, kind of with going off of the analytics thing, I really like that on actual posts, you can see how many followers you gain from that post, because that helps me learn. Whereas with Reels, it doesn't tell you how many followers you gained. And so part of me is like, are people just like watching Reels and then like keep going, or how many people are actually stopping and like going to my page to see what else I have to offer? So I do like the combination of like both posts and Reels. I've noticed my photo posts that have like multiple photos, those are pretty good because it makes people like stop and scroll and like see what else there is.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about those multiple picture posts is that it shows it to people multiple times. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think, also like a key thing We don't often do
Yeah.
those, but that is something that we watch YouTubes on like growing Instagram and stuff like that, and they recommend doing those.
I think those are called carousels.
Yeah,
and
carousels.
So what I've noticed is that when I scroll through one and I haven't liked it or commented, it'll show me the second slide on the carousel. So it does help. You are correct in thinking, multiple pictures in a carousel. It does help. At least get the exposure.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you though.
Okay.
When you're on TikTok and you're seeing a trend, do you take that trend and you try to follow it on Instagram and post it on Instagram before you post it on TikTok? Because I've heard that the trends on TikTok are maybe a few days before it hits Reels, and then that's where it's fresh on Reels on Instagram.
That's what I've heard. Watched some social media managers. She was like, post a TikTok, download it without the watermark, wait until it's actually trending on Instagram, and then post it there. But I think that the key is like pulling up the exact trending sound. So if I just like upload my downloaded TikTok, it's not going to be the same. But I think sometimes Instagram does like analyze the sound and then like matches it up and is like, oh, we renamed the audio or whatever. But yeah, that's something, I don't know. I just have not taken that as much. I think because I'm so focused on Instagram, I'm like, let me see what's trending here. And it's so different from what I see on TikTok.
Right. Yeah, we often scroll through Instagram and see what's trending, but I have noticed that if something is trending, there are five or some odd original posters of the same audio sound. And so that gets kind of confusing. You want to try to choose the best one to piggyback off of. I don't know. But that is a whole different thing compared to, let's say, what Camilla is doing. She's on TikTok more than she is on Instagram.
I like to go on TikTok, and he likes to go on Instagram Reels. So he doesn't ever really go on TikTok, and I don't ever really watch Instagram Reels.
So she sometimes feeds me an idea that she thinks will do well. And one of them actually hit 300,000 views. That crowd cheering one. But anyway, it did work once. And then there was the My Birkin one that hit 40,000 views. That one was also that same idea of taking that sound and pulling it so that it would hopefully go viral on Instagram.
Yeah.
But that second one, that was the one with the Birkin. It says My Birkin, another Birkin. What about these two Birkins? So she did that one, but we had pulled the audio from Instagram.
No, from TikTok.
From TikTok.
Because I couldn't find it on Instagram. So that's the hard thing about like going from one to the other is like you can't. It's really hard to find the sound. Like what I'll do sometimes is, because I know so many people like double post from TikTok to Instagram, I'll like look at their username and I'll try to look that person up on Instagram to see if they posted a reel, to like click on this, see if they posted the same video and click on the sound. But that one, none of the people who had posted that video, it was like still when it was really new, like maybe, I think like when I first saw it, it was like 100 videos on TikTok. And then by the time that we posted ours to Reels, it was only like maybe 1,000 videos on TikTok. So it wasn't like that many people. And so I don't know, we couldn't find it. But I think kind of hurt it almost because it was just like a whatever sound versus like the actual trending sound. And then like I've seen other people do it on Reels, and I don't know if theirs did better, but it was like more in, I don't know, the trending sound versus like no one was using my sound that I had uploaded, which was a bummer because I was kind of hoping that people would, like that mine would be the one that would take, but no.
Yeah, so we experimented on that and it hit like 40,000 views very quickly, and then it plateaued quick. It died very quickly. No one used it as as part of their audio. They didn't want to remix it or anything. So that was kind of a bummer. Yeah. But we've been experimenting so much, and we need to keep better track of it. But some things just hit and some things don't. We're not too sad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the nice thing. Oh, go ahead.
I've never remixed a reel. I wonder how that would do with the algorithm.
Yeah, that's
I don't
something to
know.
experiment with, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many things to do, so many things to experiment with.
Yeah, because remixing is like where you duet it, right? Where
Yeah, like
you
the stitching
okay.
on TikTok or
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like I see that much of that on Instagram Reels, as much as I do on TikTok. Like I feel like half of the videos that I see are like that on TikTok versus I don't know that I've ever seen that on Instagram Reels.
Same. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll start remixing your reels. Watch out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure that they would privilege those. Like people always talk about like whenever they come out with new features or whatever, they want people to use them, and so they'll like boost those and stuff. So I'm sure that they would help your video grow if you were using those extra tools.
I think the funny thing with remixing, when I've seen on some TikTok, a lot of YouTube shorts, and on Facebook, I guess those are also reels. What I've seen with those remixes is that those people do that specifically for like all of their videos. So if you decide to do that and you want to commit to it, then you can be a reaction type content creator.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have some homework. I got to go find some reels to remix this upcoming week.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Here's a question for you, though. Do you often have a specific theme to your reels aside from reselling content? Do you ever try to make all of them funny any particular week, or some that are super serious or whatever?
Nothing that I've like specifically like picked out. I do think like the funny ones get more interaction. Like I don't think people really want to watch a bunch of sad reels.
Right.
So yeah, I usually try to keep it pretty lighthearted. I've tried my little like emailing my accountant. Like the first TikTok really took off, so I've tried to like repeat that over time. And I think like the second one did pretty well. The third one didn't do so great because I was trying to see if I could like find some little like niche, something that I could, or not niche, but something I could just like do over and over again.
Yeah. Like a template almost. Like you could just keep doing this, with all the different ideas, and like it'd be super easy. Yeah.
Right. Or even like other people could do that and be like, oh, idea creds from Amber. And I'd be like, awesome, thanks. So I'm trying. We'll see if I decide to do another one or if I find anything else that works great.
Yeah. That makes me think of one of our friends, Anita. She did a 10 ways how to make 10K. And that one, her first one was like super unique, and it got 4.8 million views. And then that causes people to watch her other 9. And so to me, that's brilliant, because a series like that can bring people to follow you, but also for people to be curious enough to look at all those other reels. Because on day 1, if you post 10 ways to make blah, 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 but on day 29, you've posted the 10th one, then, the 10th one, for the person that sees only the 10th one, they're curious on what the first one is. So they'll watch the first one, and that'll continue to. And so we thought about that, and can we apply that to thrifting or reselling or something? So we're gonna play around with that. If you're watching this and you want to take a stab at it, feel free. Take the idea and run with it. But
we have been technical patterns to look out for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had thought about that. Yeah. So we'll see.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I think we both have some ideas to take from here. Maybe we'll have to like do another like recap sometime in the future on like what are we thinking now after, I don't know, 6 months or
right. Yeah, we'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you to all my followers and anyone who's watching the playback. And
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye.